learning plan. The prompt for the speech was to explore a memorable event at St. Albans City School and discuss how it affected us and approach to life. You will hear several speeches tonight. Some families have other obligations and will slip out. Unfortunately, I am one of these people. We ask the rest of you stay for all speeches. Hello everybody, my name is Vanessa Sheridan. Throughout the 8 years I've been at St. Albans City School, I've had a lot of memories, but I think my best memory overall is becoming who I am as a person. I really like who I became and what I've overcome. This past year has been full of change for me personally. Out of all my years at St. Albans City School, my favorite years were in the first grade. I wasn't really grown up and I still felt like a kid, but now I think like an adult. My mindset has shifted from thinking about who I was going to be playing with at recess to now thinking about jobs, managing my money, driving, and developing healthy relationships. Being a teenager means living in the world both as a kid and an adult. Legally, you're still a kid, but depending on your situation, you're faced with adult decisions every day. In the back of my mind, I realized that in 4 years, I'm going to be an adult. And to me, that's exciting because I'll be able to do what I want, but it's also scary because I won't have my parents there to support me financially. The good thing, though, is I've realized not to let people get to me, and I think that's important for high school. I've had a lot of drama in the past years with people, but now I've matured and realized to ignore the drama the best I can. It gets hard, but it's not worth anybody's time arguing back and forth with people. I've shown self-direction by changing the way I act and choices I've made for the best. For example, I had a friend group and then started to think that if I really needed them, they wouldn't be there for me, and that's not true friendship. I thought that they were cool and if I stayed friends with them, I would be cool too, but focusing on myself and finding true friends is what actually cool. I think for high school, I need to find a good friend group that will help me focus on school and who I can trust, and they'll have my back like I'll have theirs. In conclusion, I think that for as many years as I've been here, I've definitely learned how to become a better person. I realize I've grown so much as a person, and for the next 4 years to come, I have a lot more to work on. And going into high school will give me this opportunity even more. I can't wait to see the person that I've become looking back in 4 years. I have my sights set on becoming an athletic trainer because I love playing sports and I would feel great about teaching kids the sport I love to play. In order to achieve this goal, I need to trust myself, trust others, and build up confidence. I would also like to recognize Mr. Marr, even though he's not here today, because no matter how many times I would roll my eyes at him, he would do the best he could to help me try harder and harder on my work. And even though he's only been a student teacher for this year, he's definitely made a big impact on my learning, and he always puts a smile on my face no matter if I'm in a bad mood or not. I can never be as thankful as I am for having him here at the school. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nate. I am an 8th grader at City School. Tonight, I'm going to share my favorite memory from my time here. In the year 2021, for my 7th grade year, I went on a bike trip. I learned to ride a bike from Mr. Sallet. The entire Team USA went to Sheldon, but I went further. I ended up at the Abbey. I went so many extra miles. After I ended up in Enosburg, my leg show retired. So we had to turn around and go back to find the place we were supposed to be at in Sheldon. But I thought I was going to end up in Richford somewhere. We had so much fun. We, from all my years at City School, there were so many good memories to choose from. It was hard to choose just one, so I will say I will leave City School with this one, King of the T-shirts out.
Okay, thank you, Nate. Now we'd like to introduce Derek Rulo.
I have green shoes. Good evening. My name is Derek and I am in 8th grade. I'm going to BFA. I have been at City School, St. Albans City School for many, many years. I have enjoyed a ton of experience, both good and bad. I will talk about a few of them. Let's see my favorite class. My favorite class is art. I was allowed to create things that I would not have done on my own. The most favorite thing I created was an airplane I made out of cardboard. It had a wing on the top and a wing on the bottom, and then the engine in the front. Let's start with the field trip I remember most. It would be the bike trip. I rode for 11 miles. I always remember how much I regret that. I regret that decision because my behind was hurting for weeks. Yes, my behind was it hurt.
Got it.
This year, I would say Mr. Gattell has been my favorite teacher. His stories about history are very interesting, and he's so chill. My favorite story he told is World War II. I drew a picture of a P51 Mustang and sent it to a I don't know what that is, so I'm moving on.
Tuskegee Airmen.
Finally, I will end my speech by saying my favorite part of school here at St. Albans has been the breaks and the vacations. I will miss my time here or not at City School, but I'm looking forward to BFA. Because I am excited to do art and learn new things, and let's just hope I don't get suspended.
So next up is Angel Falcon.
He's crazy.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Angel, and I'll be telling you my experience on the most important memory that I've had for the 9 years of being here at City School. The experience I've had here at City School was really wonderful. The teachers I had were all really great and really nice. The people I got to meet throughout my life being here was good, and the opportunities that I had were wonderful. City School overall was a good experience that I got to be a part of with its good atmosphere and the path that I chose to be successful here at City School. The most important memory of being at City School I had was in kindergarten when I met my best friend Leon. When me and Leon became friends was when we were playing with magnet blocks at a table that showed a light when turned on. Leon and I would always be at the table and became friends quickly the more we were together, and at that very table back in kindergarten. Leon and I would always be at the table every day learning more about each other and discovering how creative our minds were back then, and the more I learned about him, the more I could trust him. Me and him have always been together, and we've been growing together throughout the years. This translates to growing and or improving myself because Leon always has had my back and vice versa. And he has really helped me improve myself mentally as a person. Leon is that type of person who you can really count on when it comes to serious situations, which has made me have more clear and effective communication assets throughout. Leon, every time I talk to him, it's always good because me and him will keep a conversation going when we talk about things that we both like. I've always been a troublemaker, and I can't lie and say that I haven't, but any chance I had, Leon has always been there for me when I got in trouble. Leon has seen me at my worst and my best in my life, and I appreciate that. My definition of a friend is someone that can be trusted and that a person can be open with, and Leon fits that the definition. The future of me and Leon's friendship is going to be forever because me and him have an unbreakable bond with each other. Leon and I will meet new friends, of course, but that won't change anything because I know and he knows that our friendship will never end, knowing that I've always had a skill of making new friends, but just because we meet new people, we'll have that one friend that will still be there for us and everyone. I've always been a good friend of Leon, and I've shared a lot of moments with him. And I've been there for him when he needed me most, and I've been there every time. The things that I've learned while being friends with Leon was a skill of being a trustworthy person to each other when time passes on. I've always been a charismatic person in my life because that's how I've always been. My life wouldn't be complete without me being such an outgoing person, and I'm happy that I'm like that. I've always had a thing for making friends and for people like me, and that's good because I always want people around me, no matter what. I've never been afraid of meeting new people or starting conversations with other people that I don't know or people I want to know, and that's helped me a lot, especially in sports like lacrosse or basketball. One teacher who I want to give my thanks to is Mr. Gonzalez. This was a surprise. Now I want my things after. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't really be where I am academically. Because of that, he's helped me out a lot the 2 years I've known him, and he's really given me a brighter and more polished view of the world and how I look at it now that I do. That's the end of my speech, everyone. Have a good rest of your evening. Next person up is Nathan Gonzalez.
Hi, my name is Nathan Gonzalez. I'm an 8th grader and I've been at City School since kindergarten. For me, school was about friendships and learning. My favorite subject was math, and when I need help, my teachers would be there and be helpful with me so I can prepare for high school. And yet, I don't know if I'm totally ready for high school. Friendships are important to me because you can make a lot of great friends and build better relationships once you have them. The friends that I do have, I know they are for me. They can help me catch up on the work I missed. They can also make fun of me. Thank goodness I have a good sense of humor. Over the past 2 years of being on Team USA, I've worked with the chickens and volunteered to help out with them. Every day during my second break, I would go to the chicken coop and collect their eggs. I like doing this because it's a really fun thing to do during break. Also, every now and then I need some quiet time away from everyone, and working with the chickens gives me the opportunity. What I'm looking forward to in high school is meeting the teachers and making new friends and having fun there. My goals are to get better with my academics and maybe take advanced classes in what I am really good at. Finally, hopefully, school will afford the opportunity to learn more things about interests and that I started to enjoy at City School. And that is all. Next, I want to call up Cameron Hodat.
Hello, my name is Cameron Hoda. I have a ton of amazing memories from my time at City School, but one in particular stands out to me. In my 8th grade year, I volunteered to have a speaking role at the Veterans Day Parade in St. Albans. My role as a speaker was to read the names of local veterans that had passed away within the past calendar year. To honor them and their service, this was a task that I took very seriously and was very proud to be a part of. I wanted to do this task well and give it the respect and attention that it needed. In wanting to give this my best effort, I developed a sense of anxiety and fear, especially when I saw how many names were on the list and how difficult some of the names were to pronounce. I went to work, I practiced regularly in front of the class and to perfect the names, and devoted a great deal of time outside of school to this task to ensure I was perfect. With all the preparation, and I felt that I would be ready for the big day, when I arrived to the podium, I quickly discovered that despite my preparation efforts, I was not ready. The crowd's volume quickly dissipated, and the hundreds of people in the audience all turned their attention to me. Immediately, my attention shifted to not messing up and shifting my attention to the families of the deceased veterans in the front row. I became incredibly anxious. There was one mother in particular that sat in the front row that I noticed. She appeared to be very distraught and emotional and had a hard time being at the event. I proceeded to start reading the names. I made it about halfway through before I read her son's name. It was at this point that she completely broke down in tears. I had to shift my attention away from the woman, as would have not been able to finish my task by looking at her. I was able to do so and finish reading the names to the best of my ability. At the conclusion of the speech, everybody began to tell me how good I did. Naturally, this was a jolt of self-confidence for me as a person, and especially as a public speaker. From that point forward, I felt much more comfortable speaking in front of my classmates. Furthermore, I felt that I contributed to a cause that was bigger than me, as I helped to provide closure for the people who had lost their loved ones by serving their country. This process also helped me to hone in on transferable skills, specifically improving my self-direction after my involvement with the Veterans Day ceremony. Grew as a person, public speaking, and presenting projects in front of my peers. No longer feels like a big deal to me. I know that I will volunteer for future tasks such as this whenever my teachers or someone in my community needs my help. Next up is Jaylen Jackson.
Hello, my name is Jaylen Jackson, and I'm the last remaining Langto Jackson that will be attending this school. When I first came to the school, which was in my kindergarten year, my mom and I took a tour around the school. Fun fact, I thought the art gallery over there was a lobby. But when I first walked into my City School classroom, the whole class turned their heads and looked at me. When I was in 3rd grade in Miss House's classroom, my 3rd grade friends and I sorted out the book bins and the streets. People still know me as the guy who needs most things to be nice and neat, and they are wrong. Being neat and organized helps with time management. Staying organized will help me stick to my schedule in high school and beyond. I about sundials recently. Even if I'm in outdoor class, I will still know what time it is. This skill will also help me be aware of my surroundings and the layout of the high school that I'm going to next year, BFA. This is a skill I have been able to maintain for the past couple of years, so I'm pretty confident I'll be able to keep this skill in future years to come. In St. Albans City School, I learned SAC. That stands for Safe, Achieving, and Caring. It's a valuable life lesson to learn here. I will take that into my next 4 years at BFA and will be successful. Aside from time management, I also care about others and try to make sure my peers are staying on track too. If we all achieve our goals, it's better for everyone. Everything in the school I learned will stay with me in future years. I will take what I learned and use it out in the real world. Skills that I learned here will help me be a good influence in the future. I don't plan to be perfect, but some things I do are questionable. City School taught me how to stay out of trouble most of the time. I'm not sure what I want to do for a career, but I'm considering interior design or baking. These career choices fall up to time management, and caring. Both of my choices include communication, a lot of communication. If I ever choose to run a small business, time management will take a big part, especially if I was the only one running it. Thank you. The next one speaking will be McKenna Adams.
Okay. Hi, I'm McKenna Adams. Been at school for 4 years now. The first thing she ever said to me, if you know Kaylee, the first thing she ever said to me that's now become my favorite memory as I walked into the doors of the classroom I'd be walking into for the next 3 years. I had just moved from Minnesota, and before that I lived in Swanton, which is where I first met Kaylee. We were practically inseparable. We spent so much time together, and a while later she introduced me to another close friend of hers, Chloe. Of course I was shy at first and didn't talk much, and soon my family moved away. I left the people I was finally feeling comfortable with. Moving has become quite frequent in my life. We'd move somewhere, I started to get comfortable and make friends, and then something would come up, and the next thing I know, boxes would flood the place I called home. And we'd be in a moving van for days. And so, moving to St. Albans almost felt the same as everywhere else. I had no plans of making any new friends because I knew I liked them, but as soon as I walked through the doors of my new team, something felt, well, I guess, different. Like, for some reason, things would be different. I'll admit, my head was filled with worry. That talking to someone starting new and having to talk to people was quite scary. Well, it was quite scary for a little socially awkward me. My thoughts flooded my mind, my hands were a bit sweaty, and soon that worry was broken with a girl with long brown hair, pranced over to me with the biggest smile on her face. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her at first. She asked what soon began our long-lasting friendship. Do you know Jaylen? Chloe has been my best friend for quite a few years now, and I have to say, she's had the biggest impact on myself as a person. She's made me laugh even when I felt like crying. We've told each other things we haven't told anybody else. Even the simplest things we've done together are my favorite memories. I absolutely admire everything about her. She's outgoing, funny, and then she can be serious and help me with certain things I can't even comprehend. Friends can teach us so much about ourselves. When I first started 7th grade, I was very shy. I would never raise my hand in class. I would never share my work. I've admired Chloe's outgoing personality. She's helped me come out of my shell. These past few years, I've become more comfortable with myself and who I am. Looking back on my younger self, I've thought about all I've done that I would never have imagined doing. Things such as marching with the band in the Maple Fest in front of hundreds of people, or the band concerts I played proudly in with my head held high. 7th grade me walked into school scared and terrified of even speaking out in class. And now 8th grade me will walk out of these doors for the last time feeling I have found my voice. I think friends have one of the biggest impacts on us as people. For me, band wouldn't have been even a thought in my mind without the help of those around us. I've learned that sometimes I have to step out of my comfort zone, even though it may be tough and honestly scary. The reward at the other end of that fear is always worth the risk. If someone were to ask me a year ago, are you ready for high school? I would have been running for the hills, and now I can proudly say that I'm fully prepared for what high school may bring.
Adele Oldham.
Hi, my name is Addie, and I am an 8th grader going to BFA next year. I have been going to city school for just a few years. I really enjoy coming to city school, and tonight I will tell you my reasons why. My first reason is riding the bus. I get to wait to be picked up and ride to school with my friends at the end of the day. We ride home. I enjoy the social time, both on the ride to and the ride from school. What is the time look like? Secondly, I would be the school lunches, like the sun butter jelly sandwiches, the pizza slices, and most of all, when then we have breakfast for lunch, I love pancakes and sausages. Another thing I like about city school are the teachers. I have had some really nice teachers. Sorry, I have been there. Miss Chisholm will always be my favorite teacher from city school. She made me feel welcome when I came to city school. She is always also my homeroom teacher and math teacher. I like music class because it's loud. And I like PE. We can play games in the gym, dancing to the beat and reserve the game. Then I go to music class. I feel silly. The very last thing I want to talk about is the friends I made here at school, and I enjoy playing with the breaks. I like being the Uno card game champion of Team USA. I like working on teams with them, and I'm looking forward to what high school will bring us.
Next up is Sammy Lane.
Hello, my name is Sammy Lane, and I am in 8th grade at Albans City School. My closer story is one of how I took chances throughout my life, and how I always came out as a winner. As I think back on my time at Albans City School, I have a lot of memories, but one of my favorite memories is when I was on Team China. We went to JP to go for a ski trip. I never went skiing before that day, so you may know what happened. My mom and I got to JP, and the first thing I did was going on the magic carpet, wearing my PLs. that I tried on the day before at City School. When they fit all the students, as soon as I got onto the magic carpet, I tripped over my own feet. The only people who saw it was the people who worked there. Now I'm thinking I'm a bad skier. Remember, I never been skiing before. Then I came down the bunny hill and did that a few times. I ended up having a great time, but ended up taking a nap. Because I was so tired. When I woke up from the nap, I got back on the slope and started skiing again. You can keep trying and give up, or you can keep trying and never give up. And that's the kind of person I think I am. One of my best friends, Megan, that's not here, told me to go when I didn't want to, saying to me it will be fun and you will get to try new things. Her words and taking chances are the reason I went skiing, and I will never forget that. How will this affect my future? Taking chances and trying new things I have never done and always trying to do and be my best is who and what I want to do. How I felt when I went skiing for the first time. I was nervous, but I took the chance and I was happy because I did it. Didn't give up and kept trying. I want to thank some people that helped me through hard times at Albans City School. My friend, Megan West, Liza Lynn, Jayden, and Nevaeh. And my teachers. Miss Vaughn, Miss Aurora, Mr. Coffey, Mr. Cattell, Mr. Brown, Miss Brittany, Miss Nina, Miss Dean, Miss Draper, and Mr. V, and Miss Stacy. Lately, I am worried about going to high school, but meeting new people and trusting them. But in the end, I know it will all work out because it's all about taking chances. Thank you.
About to go into 8th grade at PLP next year. It was a bit difficult in some subjects these past few years, but I found a way to do the work. Listening to music helps a lot which is a fun fact about me, I was listening to music while writing this. I'll stop breaking the fourth wall now. Back to the speech. I show a lot of respect to people and I show a lot of respect for myself. My teachers will vouch for me with this fact. I like to prove my point. This is important to me because I care for a lot of people. Just because I care for people does not mean they can go bully and talk bad about people or me. It just does not bother me. Let me tell you about how I started and ended my 7th and 8th grade years. At the start of my 7th grade year, I was part of the Virtual Learning Academy. Then I went to in-person partly through 7th grade. I found out that being in person is so much easier than on a Zoom call. I like having a teacher in the room to help me out. When I started in-person learning in 7th grade, I didn't talk much, but now in 8th grade I talk to people a lot more. I was scared when I first started in-person learning, but I started to see that most people felt the same way. Thinking back even further, When I was in 3rd grade, I was a bit childish, but now I matured a lot. I think a big part of my growth and maturity has been in playing basketball. I played basketball on the school team, and I had to get my work done to remain on the team, which helped me learn and stay on top of my work and make sure I was learning what I needed to learn. When I played basketball, I was first a post player, and then I was a post and wing player. I like the way you have to rely on your teammates in basketball. I hope I can play basketball in high school, and it is a big part of who I am. Miss DuPont and her dad were my basketball coaches. I want to thank them for teaching me all my skills I have in basketball. But before I finish off for today, I'd like to wish Miss Newton a big happy birthday. Thank you for listening. Next up is Hunter Taylor.
Hello, my name is Hunter Taylor. One of the most memorable moments here at SACS happened in 5th grade. It helped me appreciate the importance of communication. One day, my friend Jacoby and I were on the playground with some locker buddies. If you don't know what a locker buddy is, it's a little animal with magnets in its hands and feet that you can hang from your locker. We both decided that we wanted to be away from everyone. This way, nobody would bother us. But then we looked around and noticed that everyone must have gone inside, and we were out there alone. I learned that day that communication is very important, especially in moments like this. It would have saved the trouble of worrying my teachers and the people that were looking for us. It would have taken a minute with a couple of words with my teacher, and it would have saved a lot of people and their time. Communication is one of the most important transferable skills that someone can have. Not only now, but in the future as well. I'll use it throughout my life. I'll use it at home, school, with friends, sports, literally everywhere. Later in life, being able to talk with my coworkers will be important because it will give me the ability to express myself. And also help with efficiency. It is a way to relay information and ideas, and mostly importantly, express myself. This event that happened to me in 5th grade helped me learn and grow. And I do believe it will always be that reminder of how it is important to communicate. Thank you.
Hunter, say the next person. Yeah, we'll wait. Hunter, say the next person.
Today.
Oh, you're one of them.
I'd like to introduce Michael Smalls.
Alright. Hello, my name is Michael Smalls. I'm an 8th grader at St. Albans City School. I'm going to BFA next year as a 9th grader. My story starts 9 years ago when I first came to City School in kindergarten. When I first came here, I didn't know anybody and I didn't talk to anyone. I always got in trouble, and the reason why was because I was scared of my teachers, and I thought if I did bad stuff and got into a lot of trouble, then I would get kicked out of school. The reason why I wanted to get kicked out of school was because I didn't know anything other than my family. For the first 5 years of my life, that's all I knew, my family. I spent all my time with my family, and now I'm in a classroom with strangers, and all I wanted to do was be back with my family. For the first 6 months of kindergarten, all I wanted to do was be back and get sent home. Then, one day, my kindergarten teacher, Miss Scott, said to me, "Why are you so quiet, young man? Every time you come to school, you're always trying your best to get in trouble." I didn't say anything, but I started to make some changes. I started to talk more, I made more friends, and even Miss Scott noticed that I showed my personality. And the rest of kindergarten, I was good. I was good. This is a story of change. Over the years, I no longer want to be sent home for doing bad things. In the years since kindergarten, I've done many great things that I'm proud of. Making friends, working hard with my teachers, getting better grades, and being a better person. Playing team sports and standing up for social justice issues. I am excited about going to high school for several reasons. I'm at peace with my social person, and I can't wait to meet new people and make new friends at BFA. I'm looking forward to seeing what classes BFA has to offer. And lastly, I'm going to play football. I've never played it before, but I'm going to give it a try. I've changed since that little kid back in kindergarten, yes. And will I continue to change for the better and make my family proud? Yes. That is the end of the speeches. Have a great night.
Hi, my name is Caden Levine. My friends and teachers have helped me become who I am today. I want to thank everyone who has helped me over the years from kindergarten to 8th grade. I have some friends that I've known since preschool, others I met in the last few years, and I am grateful for meeting them. Teachers helping me throughout the years. I have learned a lot. Thank you to everyone that has helped me with everything. And I also have been working with the chickens for the past year, and I have been having fun with the chickens. It's a nice place to go when I'm annoyed or just not in a good mood. I like to go there because it's the calming area to go, and I have one friend that I have known for 10 years. I would like to thank AJ Falcon. Chill. Thank you for listening.
Welcome and thank you for coming to PLP Night. PLP stands for Personal Learning Plan. The prompt for the speech was to explore a memorable event at City School and discuss how it affected us and our approach to life. You will hear several speeches tonight. Some families have other obligations and will slip out. We ask that the rest of you stay for all the speeches. Hi, my name is Amelia Pinkham, and I'm an 8th grader here, and this is my speech. From first to the beginning of 3rd grade, I wanted to be an OBGYN. I called it delivery doctor because I, quote, like cute little babies, and from a 1st grader, that seems like a pretty good reason. As I reached my 4th through 6th grade year, I noticed the type of doctor I wanted to be changed, which probably does not seem like a big personality change, but to me it was. I remember thinking that I was never going to change my mind or doctor specialty, and I was pretty dead set on it too, so what changed? In 3rd grade, I had the ability to go to NMC with a few other students for a class project. While there, I got a tour of the tech area and a tour of the kitchen where I got to eat some amazing brownies, which I'm going to bet I told everyone was my favorite part of the tour. But while they were some amazing brownies, the part of the tour that had the biggest impact on me was when I had the chance to interview Jane Catton, Chief Nursing Officer, Joanne Manahan, Emergency Department Nursing Director, and last but not least, Dr. John Minadeo, Emergency Department Medical Director. While I was able to ask all of them questions, the answers that really stood out to me were from Dr. Minadeo, or as I like to call him, the man, which is a nickname I gave him when I asked a question that 2 other interviewees tried to answer, but I really only wanted an answer from him. So I said politely, "I'm talking to the man," which he took as a compliment and still remembers to this day. While he might not think he had a big impact on me, I still remember hanging on every single one of his answers, wanting to be just like him when I was older. After that day, I started to research on emergency medicine and what it was like to be an emergency room doctor, and for over 2 years, that is what I wanted to be. Over the years, I have transformed from wanting to be an ER doctor to a trauma surgeon to now wanting to be a Navy surgeon. I might have moved on from wanting to be an ER doctor, but I still wonder to this day what would have happened if I had not met Dr. Minadeo and been inspired to look up the words emergency room doctor. Because I have to add this, my school has taught me a lot too, and I will call my teachers when I use y equals mx plus b or anything to do with triangles in my career. Okay. Next up, I would like to introduce Eleanor D. Moore.
We all have that one teacher we remember. They did something we find important and it made an impact on us. Most of the time we were taught a lesson lesson, good or bad. The teacher I remember is Miss Lamb. Miss Lamb is always there for her students and wants to make sure she has a connection with all of them. At the beginning of 4th grade, I knocked on a tooth and could not eat certain foods unless they were cut up. I was overwhelmed and stressed about having the struggle of finding when to eat during the school day, but even more stressed about that because I was going to have to advocate for what I needed amongst being thrown into a community with new teachers and students. Miss Lamb made sure to help me out whenever I needed it. So when snack time came around and it was apples, I headed down the hall to Miss Lamb's, the family consumer science teacher's classroom, to see if she could cut my apple. Instead of just cutting my apple, she added cinnamon and sugar. The small act of adding cinnamon and sugar to my apple made me feel special. Here was this teacher that I barely knew, making sure I got something special. After this moment, I knew Miss Lane would do anything to make someone's day. At the beginning of her classes, she always walked in and said, "Hello, lovely people," and then reminded us that if we treated her with respect, she would treat us with the same amount of respect. She would secretly give me candy after cleaning the fish tank in her classroom, and whenever we did cooking projects in her class, she made sure to buy extra supplies so I would not get sick from the dairy. Miss Lamb spent her free time with adults and students that were willing to help her, respect her, and most importantly, have fun. As I grew closer with Miss Lamb, these things she did taught me 5 main things. Having fun is an important part of living life to the fullest. Showing respect will result in receiving respect. Entering a room with joy, hope, and kindness will make people want to be around you. Small acts of kindness can change your perspective on the world and people. Making connections with people that will impact you for the rest of your life and help you whenever it is needed is what is most important. These 5 things I want to live my life by and have the same happy, joyful, and fun life as Miss Lamb. Even though Miss Lamb no longer teaches and is enjoying her retired life, we will miss her very much. She makes sure to keep her connection strong with her students by doing activities with them throughout the school year, showing up to school events, and most importantly, coming into school to bring Mr. Brennan. I am proud to say that I was Miss Lamb's student, and I am even more thankful for everything she has done for me. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Alexis Defender.
Hello, my name is Alexis Lafernius. The speech is dedicated to Miss Brennan. When I was told to write this speech about a memory that taught me something or changed me, I was stumped. The past couple of years have taught me a lot, and I mean a lot. Everywhere from 4th grade drama to 8th grade math has back. But when it comes down to core memories, I realize that they're always with other people. My favorite memories of the past 9 years at city school feature my favorite teacher, Mr. Brennan. Mr. Brennan has taught me a lot. I don't know if I can put all the things he taught me into a short speech, but I'm going to try. Mr. Brennan and I have known each other 5 out of my 9 years here at city school. Over the past couple of years, Mr. Brennan and I became a lot closer. Although I get on his nerves quite often, I really do hope he knows that I care very much about him. Most people at city school have one other person who is like a parent to them. Mine is Mr. Brennan. Mr. Brennan was there for me whenever I needed something, especially this year. My 8th grade year has been a bit rough. At the end of the year, I had a war with headaches, with a lot of visits to the hospital with a bunch of medications and a handful of missed school days. Mr. Brennan always showed concern, and I learned throughout the year, if I needed anything, I could go to him. Mr. Brennan also helped me work on personal issues. Whether he knows it or not, he always showed patience with me, which, even though it can be extremely hard, sorry, Mr. Brennan, seeing his patience, I started to work on my own. It takes someone special to do that. He always treated me like one of his own, and I really do think that's what helped me get through everything and this world has thrown at me. He taught me to find that one person wherever I go. And I'm more than happy to say that this won't be the last time that I see Mr. Brennan, and that he will be at high school too. Although I was hoping I was in his advisory so I could prank him, but don't think I won't. Pranking Mr. Brennan is one of the best parts too. He can always take a joke to a certain extent. He will always make us pick up our mess though, which is kind of annoying. For example, when we put over 2,000 sticky notes in his office. We had no choice but to pick them up, but first we got a good laugh out of it. Mr. Brennan never takes our jokes seriously, but he does learn to walk his office. Even in the summer, he was there. Signing up for the Bay Camp has got to be one of my best decisions. He taught me how to play games I didn't even know existed, and even when I was doing something wrong, he was there to show support and help me out. In summary of everything that I've said, Mr. Brennan showed me life skills and was always there to help. This changed me and my personality. In the end, he helped me the person I am today. My 9 years here at City School have been full of everything and everyone. And although all my teachers, kindergarten to 8th grade, have a place in my heart, Mr. Brennan has a special place that can never be forgotten. Thank you. I'd like to welcome up Haley Daigle.
Hi, I'm Haley Daigle, and almost my whole life I've been at City School. I've had many memories here at this school, but out of all those memories, I think a memory I will never forget is my 4th and 5th grade trip to Camp Abernathy. Those trips were overnight trips, and while I was there, I learned a lot of new things, but this trip is memorable to me because of everything I was able to learn while I was there. Some of the things I learned while on that trip were how to kayak, how to shoot a bow and arrow, how to use a slingshot, how to make a pretzel, and I learned how to play a couple of new games I had never heard of. Those games include Gaga Ball and another game, but I can't remember what it was called. This relates to taking a risk of trying new things. Now I guess since I learned how to do all those things before, that now when I'm older and maybe starting a new job that includes one of those things, that I'll be able to learn from, that I was able to learn from this 4th and 5th grade trip. Thank you. I'd like to welcome up Peter Ruiz.
Before 7th grade, I never talked to very many people, only a small group of friends, and for the entire 7th grade year, it was the same up until the very end. Around the last day of school, we had our bike trip that was supposed to happen in 6th grade, but was pushed forward due to COVID. And on that bike trip, I met and talked to a ton of people who I'd never spoken to before, which was very different for me. But that bike trip was one of my favorite experiences in city, not only because it was just fun, but also because after the bike trip, I came to the realization that I'm not content with a small group of friends, the small group of friends I had. And I told myself that I would expand the amount of people I talked to as many people as I could and be a more open person. This year, I believe I've stuck to my word, and doing that has made this year easily the best year I've had at City School. And even if some people in my class think I'm too open, specifically the guys I'm speaking to, I'm glad that I realized this about myself before the 8th grade year, as I feel like being an open person this year is giving me some practice being social in high school and possibly college. I think that if I apply what I've learned from this school year in the future, I can be a more inclusive person in our community. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Gavin Fish.
Great. Hello, my name is Gavin Fish, and I'm an 8th grader at Albans City School. I'm sure you've all gotten angry at someone, and you probably got into a dispute with them. Well, guess what? I have too. Big shocker. So the day was 7 years ago in 1st grade. It was between class break, and I did the thing that I had done every single time. I played with Legos. I don't remember exactly what I built with them. Probably people and houses and God knows what else. But I'm getting a little off topic there. I was playing with these Legos, and then a classmate who I have goodwill and respect, I won't say their name, decided they would steal some of them. Now, this made me quite mad as I no longer had all the pieces that I wanted. And this would, of course, soon turn into a, I want it back. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. You're a poopy head. Classic. And back then, I also had a tendency to blow things out of proportion, and so I kind of wanted to suplex this kid 6 feet to the ground. Now, I didn't do that, of course, but I did get physical with them. In fact, I bashed my head right into them like a ram. I just went like, BAM! You know? But of course, that was a very bad thing that I did, and my mom would have received a phone call shortly after. And then I got home, and I probably sat in my room and contemplated all my life choices up to that point. And then I forgot about it the next day. Cool. Now, later in my school career, I would get into other disputes, and while I didn't handle them perfectly, I never got physical and always stuck to my words. As a result, these arguments never got too ugly, which is good. What that experience taught me was to keep your cool. Even if you're really frustrated at someone or something, because the last thing you want to do is say or do something you don't really mean, and you could even regret it for the rest of your life. While I still may overreact sometimes, I'm significantly better than 7 years ago, and I'll continue to keep improving for as long as I live. Using this skill will allow me to think through future problems that aren't necessarily about other people, and I'm sure that I will use it no matter the endeavor I may work towards. Thank you for your time. And next up is Leon.
Hi, I'm Leon and I'm an 8th grader at Albans City School. My favorite memory throughout my whole experience here at Albans City School would be the camping trips that I would go on when I was in 4 years. Near the end of the year, we would take a bus to Camp Abenaki where we'd spend 2 days and 1 night there. I remember how I would sit next to my friend on the bus, and we would be looking at the window, excited and pumped up, knowing that we were going to be at camp for the next 2 days. Although I was excited, I was still a bit nervous since I have never met the counselors or people who work there. The first trip, we were introduced to a game called Albans. You and your friends would gather in an octagon-shaped fence, and and you would hit a ball back and forth trying to hit other people below the knees. We would be running around, and whenever we got hit by the ball, we would get frustrated and leave the octagon. After we finished playing alcohol, we would run over to the cabins, get a drink of water, use the bathroom, just anything that would refresh you or anything. But after that, we would meet with the camp counselors, and they handed us our schedule and what we were going to do. I was going to do pretzel making, slingshots, swimming, canoeing, kayaking, and capture the flag with my group. I'll start off with the first activity, the pretzel making. We would all go to the dining hall and make some dough so that we could make a pretzel. I remember I made mine into a twisty shape like a double helix. That would have us make it either savory or sweet cinnamon sugar. Of course, I made mine sweet. We would go outside and wait for them to bake, but after they finished baking, we would go back to the dining hall and eat our pretzels. Now on a slingshot. 2 of the counselors would bring us on a trail where we would shoot the cans in the range. I remember dying of thirst, so I asked my dad if I could go to his car and grab a Gatorade. He walked me to the car, opened the trunk, and grabbed me a Gatorade. I also took a bottle of juice for later. Sorry, Dad. We would all go on a break and hang out in the field for an hour. I remember I was sitting under a big shade tree with my friends talking about random things after our break. We would go canoeing. I remember me and 2 other my friends would paddle it. When we were putting the canoe in the water, there was a dead fish right next to my foot. I got scared and started crying, so I ran away. My friends were wondering what happened, but after we all realized what happened, when we all realized what had happened, we were all laughing, and before we knew it, it was already lunchtime. My dad walked with me and my sister to the dining hall, and we all sat at the same table. We went up to the food and got our plate, or we went up to the food table and got our plates of food, then we sat back down and enjoyed ourselves. After lunch, we would go kayaking, but I was never a fan of it. It was just boring since it was just sitting in the middle of the water with a paddle in your hands for a while. I mean, it was nice to race with your friends, but it got boring pretty quickly. Last activity I recall would definitely be capture the flag, as we had to use the big open field, and the flags were placed on both ends. The camp counselors gave us the option to have face paint. Of course, I got some face paint. They had a blue streak on my forehead, and after everyone got their face paint, the game started. I remember running to the other side and getting to the flag, but I remember I was getting captured easily. To get out of the jail, we were able to make a chain of people to reach our own team while the person at the back is still touching the prison. We all had fun during capture the flag. After a long day of camp activities, everyone wanted to go to the cabins. Along with my group, I walked to the cabins, and we all went to bed and we fell asleep. So normally I don't do these things, but I stay indoors a lot. So most of the time, I figured out that if you take the risk and you get an open-minded person, some things can actually be really fun. Thank you. Next up, I introduce Charlie Levine.
Hello, my name is Charlie Levine, and when I started writing the speech, I honestly had no clue what I was going to write about, at all, until just about yesterday. I could remember nothing that happened at City School that had impacted me substantially enough to write about at all. So I tried to remember for just hours. I just sat at my desk, absolutely clueless, until it hit me. I'm going to write about not knowing what to write about. So, because I didn't know what to write about, I was just searching through my memories, and I couldn't remember anything. Any important events or teachers, really, that impacted me substantially. All I remember is, like, having fun with my friends and stuff. For the longest time, I thought that school was just an absolute waste of time. An outdated system should be changed. But recently, I realized that school isn't just about academics. When I first moved to St. Albans, I was a very shy kid. I continued to be until I learned how to adapt and how to interact with new groups of people. This is due to City School. Realizing this made me take a look at some of the other things in my life that I looked at negatively. I realized that they weren't that bad, but I made them worse in my head. Even though I didn't enjoy them in the moment, they eventually helped me improve as a person in one way or another. This also made me aware of the fact that I tend to have a negative attitude towards most activities that involve any kind of work. Whether it's taking out the trash at home or writing an essay in language arts, I love to procrastinate and complain. And even though these things are difficult for me, I make them out to be very challenging in my head. So in the future, I'm going to try to be less negative towards any kind of work, especially since going into BFA, because that kind of negative attitude won't get me anywhere. Thank you. I would like to introduce Cass Weber.
Hi, my name is Cassandra. So, being honest, I don't really have a lot of good memories here. I've always had mixed relationships with my teachers. I wasn't into dating, and all I did was draw. It's still what I'm known for. I am the artist kid. And most of that is my fault. When I was, I want to say 5, I was sitting in my room by myself, playing with my dolls and thinking about my life, and I realized that I had literally nothing planned. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life, so I made a plan then there. When I got to high school, I would get good grades, I'd be friendly, have a ton of friends, I'd be really pretty, but I wouldn't date anybody for fear of it not lasting. I'd go to college, get an apartment, then I'd get a job to be an astronaut, and then I'd get an apartment. And from there, my future self could take the wheel. Unfortunately, I didn't make any plans for before high school. I figured I could just do what I wanted until then, and everything would click into place when I got there. Alas, being 5 years old, I had almost no experience with smarts, and I had no clue how to be friendly or how to talk to people or how many people I'd get into fights with, how bad I was that I looked, the bumps in the road, my personal life, people I would take interest in, and my drastic change in career path. I thought school and social skills would be easy peasy lemon easy, and I would have no problem making friends, but I grew up in a very sarcastic family and parents with a small social circle as it was, so the odds were not on my side. And I was correct. As I reflected on my years here at City School, it did surprise me a lot that most of the memories that stuck out and the experiences were not favorable ones. Most of them were about how I didn't get along with other people, how I didn't get along with other people, and how many fights I got into. Now, The majority would consider this to be a bad thing, but I don't really think it is. Those experiences taught me that I will not always feel comfortable, see the same views, or get along with the people around me, but that doesn't make me or those other people bad or wrong. It simply makes them and myself different. Learning about differences is healthy and useful for my future jobs, friendships, and general relationships, and especially when moving into a new environment such as high school. There will be new people from many different towns around us at high school, so I will continue to learn about the different points of views of different people to hopefully understand them better and make new memories. While learning more, I can use what I've already noted to help me improve on my social skills and overall behavior towards other people. All things considered, I'm glad I went to city school and can bring my experiences with me to a new fresh start. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Miss Mary.
Oh my god. Okay. My name is Chloe Smith, and I am an 8th grader on Team USA. My prompt for the speech is to write about a memory that I learned from to help with my future. I had an experience when I was in 4th grade on Team Voyagers where we went on a field trip to Camp Avenue. And it had started out fine as we rode the bus on a sunny June afternoon. But once we got there and we were outside in the heat, I developed a headache. This headache progressively got worse as we did all of our camp activities. So after dinner, I was given Advil by my friend's mother to help with my headache. And it had helped, but soon after, I threw up in front of our cabin. After using the bathroom, I went back to the cabin and tried to get comfortable, even though I still had a headache. After failing to get comfortable, I decided to switch beds, and then switch beds again, and again, until I had been in every bed. In the end, none of the beds were comfortable, and I ended up sleeping on the floor for the rest of the night. It was not very fun, and it did not go as expected. I learned that things are not always going to go according to plan, and that I have to expect the unexpected. I had another time when I had to go when I was in cheerleading. I had a game that I was cheering for, and I was really excited. That I had gotten all ready just in time for it to be canceled. So of course, I was disappointed. Aside from my school experiences, I've had resilience in many instances, like when my dad left for Germany for work. It was a big change and I had to make adjustments, but it has led me to believe that I will be able to handle anything this world has to throw at me and that I'm ready for high school next year. Thank you.
At the end of last year, the 7th grade went on a bike trip to the rail trail. The whole trip was very memorable, and it was probably my favorite part of 7th grade. I could stand here talking about that trip all night, but I will focus on one thing. Now, before I start, you need to know that I love grapefruit. I absolutely love grapefruit. So we got to the old Sheldon Casino. My friends and I were eating lunch on the stage of the vacant pavilion. We were all eating our lunches, and one of my friends went to eat the orange she brought. At some point when we were trying to peel it, we realized that it was not in fact an orange, but it was a grapefruit. My friend no longer wanted it because it was a grapefruit, but as you will remember, I love grapefruit. So I said if she wasn't going to eat it, I would. Now I have this half-peeled grapefruit, and I'm trying to eat it, and I tried to keep peeling it, but it's not working. So I gave up on that and just ate it like an apple. I tried not to eat any of the peel. By the time I was done attempting to eat the grapefruit, my face and hands were covered in grapefruit juice. I ate most of it, and I put the rest of my lunchbox to compost at home. Most of you are probably wondering why I just spent the past minute talking about a grapefruit. Honestly, I am too. But anyway, I think the grapefruit sort of shows how I jump at any opportunity I get, no matter what messy end awaits. And now, have any of you ever tried to peel a grapefruit? It's challenging. That's another thing about me. I love a good challenge. And once I start a challenge, I'm going to finish it. Especially if you tell me I can't. For example, if you tell me there's no way I can climb a tree, I will look you in the eyes, say watch me, and climb the tree. Even if I get hurt in the process. At the beginning of this year, we had to come up with goals for ourselves, and my personal goal was to read 100 books. I showed this goal to Mr. Cattell, and he told me 100 books was too many to read in a year. To this day, I have read at least 112, and those are only the ones I remember to report. I don't think I've ever worked that hard to achieve a goal. It's a double-edged sword, though, being so stubborn, because I will dig my heels in about nearly everything, and sometimes it drives people away. I know that it's something I need to work on, and I'm trying, but I also don't know who I would be if I didn't dig my heels in. I don't know what's going to happen next year, but I know that it's going to be filled with challenges, new opportunities, and I know it's going to be a ton of fun. Thank you. This concludes our speech night. Thank you for coming. Have a great night.
Hello everyone, my name is Megan West. Looking back on my time at City School, I can't help but think of how much I have changed. I wasn't always the easygoing and smiling person you see up here today. As a matter of fact, back in 1st through 3rd grade, I was quite the opposite. During this time, however, I made one of my biggest connections here with Miss Halverson. I always struggled in 1st through 3rd grade, but Miss Halverson was always so patient with me. She knew that I was struggling, and she wanted to make sure she helped in any way she could, even if I was being disrespectful to her. I learned a lot from Miss Halverson about how to be a kind person. I have always struggled in class, and I'm not going to lie, I still struggle in class, and I'm sure I will in high school too. I had reasons for not always being the Megan I am today. I struggled because of things at home, and I would take my actions out at school. I think I have come a long way since being with Miss Halverson. When I was with Miss Halverson, I never thought I would change into the person I am today. I have never had a future for myself, and I could never see myself staying in school because of how much I was getting in trouble. Mrs. Halverson always helped me believe in myself. She's always been there, even when I moved up to 4th through 8th grade. We still talk and keep in touch. She still always finds a way to help me. I will always thank Miss Halverson for being there for me and realizing that I was struggling. I hope she helps more students like me because she can make quite the impression on students like me. People have always disrespected the teachers. I even did, and I have no excuse for what I used to do. But Miss Halverson was always there. She helped me believe in myself. She never gave up on me, no matter how much I would disrespect her or push her away. She has always been a really sweet person. I see her with her third graders now, and every time I see her, she always has a smile on her face and is always so caring towards them. She has made a big impact on my life, and she's the one who helped me get to where I am today. I'm going to miss her when I go up to high school. I'm going to miss seeing her every day. I'm going to miss going to her 3rd grade class and helping her. Never in a million years did I think I would have a connection with Miss Halverson or any teacher at all. I didn't think teachers would accept me because of the way that I acted. Miss Halverson inspired me to be nice to people as she is. I was never nice in 1st to 3rd grade, and I fixed that because of her, because I wanted to be just like her. Thank you, Miss Halverson, for being the most wonderful, kind, and caring person. Thank you for never giving up on me. Most of all, thank you for being you. Thank you.
I don't really have any memories here in school because I've only been here for a year. But one thing I can remember is that at the beginning of the year we had to set some goals. And one of my main goals was to improve my grades from last year. And at the start of the year, I was definitely struggling a bit, but after a bit, I started to get back on track with improving my grades in social studies. Improve my grades in social studies, LA science, maybe not math, but overall I feel that I achieved that goal. I definitely was not that social this year, and that was because I moved to St. Albans from Colorado, and it was kind of unexpected. My parents asked me and my sibling how we would feel about moving to Vermont, and within a few days we started packing, and 2 weeks into summer, we moved. When school started, I had not been in school in a year, so there was that on top of not knowing anyone. But luckily, the teachers were very welcoming, and it was the same with some of my classmates. It still took a bit, but I did eventually get used to being here. And when I do go to BFA, I will try to be more social and open about things than I was in SACS. This school year was pretty fun and different from what I was used to. As I move on and go to BFA, I am hoping that it will be similar to here, and I hope that I can be more social and actually make some friends. And hopefully I will have a great time at BFA. I had to move from a place that I had been for about 10 to 11 years of my life. And because of that, I have learned how to adjust to changes, and with this I can use it to help me adjust easier to other changes that may happen later in my life. And this is a useful thing that I'll remember for the future.
I have a lot of memories from city school, but one really stands out. The ski trip from 6th grade. The ski trip from 6th grade was a really fun experience. I had only gone skiing in school field trips before that, and I had gone one after. They taught me how to ski, and we don't have our own, so when we got there we had to go get our rentals. But I wasn't nervous at all because I had gone 2 years beforehand, and it was just really fun. They broken us into small groups for skiing. My group was Eden, Ethan, and Malachi, and the weather was nice that day too, sunny and bright. When the chairlift started moving, I got a little nervous because of the height, but I couldn't wait to ski on a real mountain again. I didn't fall for most of my runs down the mountain, and my time at J Peak was a blast. Those trips were what inspired me to take up skiing. It's expensive, but it's still fun. This translates into the real world as it helps me try new activities and other things. And high school will be full of new experiences and opportunities. If I'm honest, I'm scared for high school. But there will be so many people I don't know, and I think the work is going to be very hard. The expectations are definitely going to be higher. It will be hard. But if I treat all opportunities like a ski slope at J Peak, in doing so, it should make trying new things easier. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christina Pratt. My 8th grade year was different. Last year we had to wear masks, and this year it's optional. And let's just say I will not forget my 8th grade year. I feel like high school will be hard at first, but I think I will get used to it. I'm more excited about prom now that I get to go to high school. I will be waiting my whole life for prom. I know that for sure. Of course, I will miss St. Albans City School, but now I get to go to high school. I've grown so much from this school. This school has taught me how to be successful in different ways. I will probably not be going to college, but I am looking forward to my future in high school. With high school comes responsibility. You have to be at school on time, you have to be on classes on time, and you cannot skip or you'll get held back, which I am not excited for. It might be hard because the high school is huge, but eventually it'll get less complicated. I will admit I am very nervous, as you can tell, about the absences because my 8th grade year I've skipped over 35 days, which is not good. And there is a 7-day rule in high school where if you miss 7 or more days, your grades go down. And trust me, you don't want that. I feel like I've grown so much with my teachers, so much that once I called Mr. Sallet, my mom, which if you ask him, he will probably remember because that's not a forgettable moment. In 6th grade, I was excited for this camping trip we had at the end of the year. We would have it every year until 6th grade. And they canceled that in my 6th grade year because of COVID. I love this school because the teachers try to make you feel special in their own way. In 4th grade, I was told that there were dead corpses, oh my god, in the basement of the school. I believed that until a teacher yelled at me and said that there are not dead corpses in the basement. But if you ask me, I think the school is haunted because there is a cemetery next door to our school. I would have to say my favorite year in city school would be my first, second, and third grade because they would spoil the kids. At least people in my community, would be spoiled, and they would give us hot chocolate, M&Ms if we were staying quiet, and we would watch movies literally almost every day. I've made so many friends in city school over the years, and I've lost a lot, but I've grown from that. Also, now I'm in high school, so Mr. Pac, now I get to call you Mr. Pac-Man, so that's nice. I've been waiting 5 years for that, ever since I was in 3rd grade. I have many good memories from this school, but I gotta say my favorite would probably be my first fancy dance. I moved to St. Albans in 1st grade, but in 3rd grade I heard that there was a fancy dance. I was only in 3rd grade, so I went with my 2 best friends instead of a boy because I was too shy. When I first walked through the door, I was shocked. I felt like I was at prom, or what I assumed prom would be like. I remember when I first walked into the dance that there was a nail polish station. I obviously got my nails done. I felt like a princess, honestly. There was also a picture station where me and my friends took lots of pictures. Inside the lunchroom, there was tons of kids.
My name is Deshaun Barry and I'm an 8th grade student on Team USA. August 25th, 2021, my first day of school after switching in my final year of grade school. I was very nervous and wanted to fit in. I walked into my class. Funny thing, I was in the 7th grade class for the first 2 days because they put me in the wrong class and I was confused. I moved into the 8th grade class where I was supposed to be, made lots of new friends, and was able to meet my favorite teacher, Mr. Mo. He's been very open, welcoming, and nice to me. He's very competitive, and I feel like he's a 13-year-old trapped in a 22-year-old body. We connected in a lot of ways and have had many conversations about sports. We've made various bets, and I've lost most of them, including having to wear a Red Sox jersey to class because I don't like the Red Sox, and a Celtics shirt because I hate the Celtics more than anything, and they beat my favorite team, the Bucks, in the playoffs. He taught me how to putt and golf as well. He's had a very positive influence and has helped me to grow and improve. I'd also like to say how much I appreciate my father. He's taught me so much about taking care of myself, even though I often don't listen and can sometimes get in trouble. I still care about the fact that he's teaching me what to do when he won't be around, also that he cares for me no matter what, even when I make him down. Matt. I love my dad and care about him more than anything, and I look up to him, so thank you for being there, Dad. I love him. I also want to thank my cousin Cam for being like an older brother. I also want to thank my right-hand man, my older brother LeBron, because he never left my side and he's always made me laugh. I also want to thank my little brother's mom for being the second mother majority of my life, and my aunt Tori's always been there for me. I also want to thank my mom for being there for me every day, and of course because she gave birth to me and loving me no matter the circumstances. I'll use the experience I've had with Mr. Moore and my father as I grow older to become an adult who supports kids with their growth. I recently worked with younger students at the Chippy Group on Stewardship Day and had a positive experience. I felt like an adult with a sense of responsibility. I didn't know what to keep writing, but I just want to say thank you to my classmates who I've grown up with this school year. I want to thank my teachers and my family for being there for me, and I hope I can meet new people throughout high school and make new friends. But I know I won't forget this year. I also want to thank my basketball team this year because I know we were not blood, but you guys still felt like family, made this school feel like home, and I'll never forget that. Thank you for listening to my speech.
All right, come on.
I'm Zach Ellsworth, an 8th grade student on Team USA. I decided to write about basketball for my PLP speech because I couldn't find anything else to write about. Basketball has helped me a lot to become the person I am today. It has helped me work better in teams and groups. I remember a time when we were losing a game and we all had to work together with passing the ball and making more baskets so we could win the game. It has also helped me think quicker when I need to make a decision at the moment, such as
making quick passes and shooting quickly so the other team wouldn't get the ball. Playing basketball has also helped me become a better athlete. Overall, I think the sport has helped me become a better version of myself. Even through all the embarrassing moments, like falling on the court, missing wide open layups, sometimes I would even try and go for a layup and fall over somebody. Another embarrassing moment would be losing the ball out of bounds while dribbling. Sometimes walking up the court, you would bounce the ball off your shoe and it would roll out of bounds. I have learned from those mistakes by practicing more and more in my free time and being more careful while dribbling and shooting. Basketball can relate to school, like studying for a quiz or working with groups on a test or a quiz. I feel like these things I've learned from basketball can help me a lot with my future career. I think working in teams and groups would be much better if I continued to play basketball. I also think I would make better decisions in my future. Basketball isn't the only sport that can help you with these things. Many other sports can. I can do the same, and I encourage everyone to play sports or at least try playing sports once. Sports are very helpful to get healthier and can help a lot with your future. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Charlie Moon, and as some have guessed, I've not been at City School, well, Vermont in general, very long. It hasn't been so easy to grow a strong connection with my peers or obtain a core memory. Within the time I've spent here, I catch myself reminiscing on the moments I've made back in California with my closest friends. Back then, it was nothing out of the ordinary to sneak back into school to utilize the volleyball courts. Whether we chose to hop the gate or crawl underneath, we really didn't need to sneak back in since we were all signed up for the after-school program where we had access to the courts for all 4 hours. But honestly, we did it mostly for the thrill. Other times, though, we did it because we left school grounds as soon as the bell dismissed us to buy snacks and drinks. The nearest gas station wasn't a far walk, so if we were lucky, we would have a turn before attendance was taken. If we didn't leave for the gas station, we would head to the mall, which is only a 15-minute walk away. Here, we would spend about an hour exploring, buying boba, window shopping, or playing hide and seek before actually making our way back. This is a major contrast to anything I've done in the 3 months I've spent in Vermont. Being put through this transition of a new school, friends, teachers, and even state, I've come to an understanding that things can come to a sudden change, and the unexpected comes before you can even enjoy the moment to its fullest. Although I say this, I don't think that bittersweet feeling will disappear as of now. But as I grow older and widen my horizons, I'm certain that the experience I've gained from unexpected changes will make me accustomed to not dwell on the past. Along the way, this will also heighten my adaptability to new situations. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce
Lakin or Ish? Can you get your computer? Do you have it on your... Pull it up on your computer screen. Thank you. Ish, can you pull yours up on your laptop, please?
I am Lakin Poston, and I decided to write my PLP speech on a past friend group that has changed me a lot over the past 3 years of COVID. Around 4 years ago, when I joined the Incredibles team, some of the people there I didn't know that well, and others I did. Even when I didn't know some of the people in my grade, I was still able to create a friend group with a good amount of people. From then until 6th grade, I stuck with those people. There were lots of ups and downs in 2019 and 2020, mostly being downs, including the COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic, one of the people in my friend group, we call them Bethel, thank you Amelia for the amazing name, was someone I had eventually developed a crush on. Once I had realized I had a crush on Bethel, I gained the confidence to ask them out. A couple weeks later, Bethel and I were dating each other, and it seemed pretty fine. We did the horrible, cringy 6th grader couple stuff that was not cute, but thankfully, nobody cared. A couple months later, we'd broken up. 5 to 6 months later after that, COVID was going around schools and they were getting shut down. Nothing changed between me and Bethel. The friendship was a bit rough after the breakup though. I remember not talking to Bethel for a few weeks, though they were the person I texted the most. I was sitting in a chair doing my online schoolwork, and I hadn't checked my phone for a few hours. I was getting a lot of schoolwork done. saw a Snapchat notification come up on my screen from Bethel, and I wanted to see what they said, because, like, why not? And what they said was, I don't want to be friends anymore. I had a lot of questions going through my head, so I replied with, why? And after a couple long minutes of waiting for an answer, I finally got a text back, and it said, because you're annoying. When I saw that message, I got a little mad, and I started talking back and was arguing. We did not say some very nice things to each other. It was not good. Arguing got really bad, to a point where a couple months later, we were basically threatening each other back and forth through a mutual friend. So I remember my parents finding out about it, and they jumped in and they had to take away my phone for a year. I think that my parents were doing the right thing to do that. It definitely helped me reflect on my actions and what I was doing, how I was reacting to this type of situation. I reminded myself multiple times over the past 3 years to not act out like that and fix myself and not make mistakes like that again. And every time I get into an argument, I think back to when that was happening, and I remember not to act out like that. And I think about it, and it makes me think about how I have changed so much as a person from 6th grade to now in 8th grade.
Hello, my name is Leslie Smith, and I am an 8th grader in St. Albans City School. I have a lot of memories in St. Albans City School. One memory I always remember is the time I went camping in Discovery in 4th grade. This begins on a sunny day. We were all getting ready to leave to go on the bus. It took an hour or so to get there. I fell asleep on the way there. When we got there, we sat on the bus for 5 minutes, but it felt longer. I was so excited to get the trip started. When we were finally allowed off the bus, someone showed us the cabins and we got settled in. I got top bunk and took things out that I needed in my bag. A teacher came and got us to go to the blue building so we could talk as a group. We talked about things we will do. The lifeguard came in next, and we all ran back to the cabin to get dressed for swimming and paddleboarding. We ate lunch and did lots of fun activities together. We played soccer, basketball, and tag games. The teachers got all of us together, and we talked about how the rest of our day is going to look. Before we went to bed, we had a fire and made s'mores and talked about the school year. After the fire, we all went back to our cabins and got ready for bed. The next day, out of nowhere, my chest started hurting, and someone had to get the teacher for me. In the end, I was okay. It ended up just being a heartburn. On this trip, I tried lots of new things like paddleboarding and canoeing. It can be scary to try new things. I fell out of the canoe. New experiences and time away from home taught me that I can rely on my friends and my teachers and myself. It's important to me to discover things about myself because trust is a big part of who I am as a person. Now that I'm graduating St. Albans City School and moving on to high school, learning how to trust people is important. Learning how to make good relationships with teachers is also important, because it will help me to believe in myself and not to give up. One teacher in particularly, Miss V, taught me these lessons. I'm looking forward to going to high school and seeing old friends and meeting new friends and teachers. I'm excited to start working on my goal for the next 4 years at BFA and for the future. I'm excited for 9th grade. Thank you.
I've been at City School for many years, and I still remember the first time I met a girl named Tabby. I first met Tabby in the 4th grade in the Team Voyagers, and from the moment I saw her and spoke to her, I felt like I didn't want to be her friend, I felt like I needed to be her friend and to know her, but I didn't understand why. But I kept seeing her every day and talking to her and getting to know her, and that's when I started understanding why. When I was around her, I felt different. I felt happy when I was with her. I felt calm and peaceful. I felt like I could be myself and it was okay. I felt like I could be as crazy and goofy as I wanted to be and she wouldn't be upset or make fun of me. I remember my first day at Team USA. I felt like I was in hell. With all the new people and having to wear masks and worrying about schoolwork and some other things and issues, it made it hard for me to be at school and to be okay. But as I got closer to the end of the 7th grade year, I found a way to talk with Tabby again.